Hey.
Hello.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Wonderful.
I just wanted to shout out everybody that's tuning in right now. What's up, Meg? I see you, Meg. Hey, Mimi. How you guys doing? Thank you all for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, tag someone, invite someone to come in. These discussions we have are very important. We have an amazing guest today that you guys will hear more about. I am Jamila Hanif.
I am Fatima Hanif.
And I'm Iman Hanif.
We're the Hanif sisters. Welcome to Bounceback
Wednesday.
Hey, Star. What's up, Danny? You cool? You good?
I'm cool.
We ready? We're excited to have you on tonight. So for you all that don't know, if this may be your first time tuning in, Bounceback Wednesdays is a platform used to raise awareness about ACEs. What is ACEs? What are ACEs? ACEs is an acronym for Adverse Childhood Experiences. Between 1995 and 97, Kaiser conducted a study on 17,800 of their HMO members. What they discovered was that a lot of their health issues that they were battling with, obesity, heart disease, lung disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, strokes, these chronic illnesses were traced back to their adverse childhood experiences because adverse childhood experiences causes trauma. Trauma causes toxic stress. And toxic stress, if not dealt with, can cause chronic illnesses. There were 10 indicators that they surveyed these 17,800 HMO members. And the 10 indicators were split up into 3 categories: abuse, neglect, and dysfunctional household. Fatima is going to share with you those 10 indicators.
So it's physical abuse, physical neglect, emotional abuse, emotional neglect, sexual abuse, mental illness of a household member, separation due to divorce, incarceration, or death of a parent, domestic violence, and substance abuse.
So if someone...
And those are the baseline.
Those
are the 10 baseline. Right.
What are some other ones?
Community violence, even situations that go on at school or at like aunt's house and different things of that sort. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's a lot more. If you grew up in the foster care system, racism, discrimination, sexism, community violence, and natural disasters. What? You said that? I said that? You said that?
No. I got a kid that's busting in my door. That's all.
Oh, I'm like, what I missed? Okay. So, Danny, when did you first hear about adverse childhood experiences?
Actually, yesterday I was trolling through Facebook and I came across it and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" So I was like, "Let me get involved."
Okay.
I've had my share of childhood traumas that's went through my childhood, my teens, my young adults, and even my more mature years as an adult. It still affects me today. So, let's talk about it. Let's have that conversation.
Right. Let's talk about it. So, did you take the ACEs questionnaire?
I did.
You did. What was your score? If you like to share?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. When you were taking the questionnaire, did anything come up for you? Like when you were reading these questions, like were you like, whoa, like,
Not so much because of my background and my past and what I've been doing for the last 31 years. I've been dealing with all my childhood stuff. And like I said, I still carry the baggage with me sometimes, but most of the time I do my best to leave it at home because I don't want to take it out with me.
That's good. Well, that's great. That's good that you've been dealing with it and handling it. Fatima, oh, you saying something? Oh, your kid's invading your space right now?
Yeah, Rain telling me how much she loved me. So
I love you too, Rain.
How much I love you.
Oh,
I'll tell you a funny story later about what she said to me, Jamila.
Okay, she's hilarious. All right, man, your story, Fatima. What did you watch earlier today?
his speaking engagement, and it was wonderful. One thing that I enjoyed about, and me and Jamila had a discussion about it too. The video he was explaining how what did I say this, or should I let him say this?
Yeah, let him share.
Like,
nope.
Ask him the question.
Okay.
Allow him.
Yep. What? So tell us, who is Danny? Who is Danny Darling?
I'm a work in progress. I grew up in Fairfield from the age of 2 to 15, and then we moved to Old Suisun off of Florida Street and Louisiana Street, which are no longer there anymore.
Oh.
And between that year and a half, I ended up being involved with a bunch of other people, and we committed a crime, and I went to jail for 31 years. So I went in when I was 16, and it was 1989, and so it was a lot of anger that I redirected to the wrong people when, you don't want to redirect anger anyways. You want to deal with it in a healthy way and move forward. And I chose not to. So, but I didn't have the skills or even anybody to help that I thought.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest problems. If we don't feel that we have anybody to help us, who do you ask for help? Nobody's there.
Right.
So
glad that you're home.
Oh, thank you.
How long have you been home?
2.5 years.
Wow.
And it's been amazing.
I was gonna say, how you feel? Shoot.
Top of the world.
Okay.
Amazing.
That's what's up. 16 years old. So what do you think was missing? Like what could have Fairfield provided? Okay, let's say this. What could the city have provided? What could the community could have provided? What could the household have provided? And what could the schools have provided? So you can break it down whichever way you want to go. What could have been provided to help you?
So from between the ages of 5 and 12, my stepdad used to beat the crap out of me. He'd call it dancing lessons. He'd tell me to go to the bathroom where I would strip naked, and he would grab me by my left elbow, beat me with a very thick belt.
Oh.
And it was pretty much a recurring thing. And it was from 5 to 12. And those 7 years were very traumatic. And I thought nobody knew. I thought it was just me and him, and he only knew. And he told me never to tell nobody. And there was times when I've gone to school and got in trouble because I couldn't sit down. I mean, my whole backside is black and blue, And back in the 80s, they really didn't deal too much with like child protective services and everything. It didn't affect me anyways. Maybe they were really good, but I never got placed there. There was one time when I had a fork thrown at me and it busted me in the eye and I was bleeding. I was told to go to my room. You threw the fork at me, but I got to go to my room. So I went through the window. I went and found me a motorcycle officer and told him what happened. And they took me to the house and they said, "Oh, it was an accident." So the cop looked at me and said, "There's nothing I can do." They said it was an accident. So you just sent me back into my abuser?
Right.
That's how I felt. And it sucked because that was my mom and her boyfriend at that time. And it was crazy. So who could I go to for help?
Right.
And it's me against the world. It really was. And at that point I knew nobody's going to help me. So let me just go be me, whatever me is. And at that time I was still young.
Right, man. And you would think that, when going to someone, and this is why it's so important, like it's a trick, because I'm sure a lot of us have experiences where we go tell somebody something and somebody did this and they're not believing us, as children, we don't want to believe the children, sometimes, when you have proof, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on now. What do you think?
Correct. That's that's crazy. I am so sorry that happened to you. I mean, it's like that's why when even when my kids come and tell me that someone has done something to them, and even I ask them,
Mhm.
it's okay. So let's go see what happens. It's just believing them first. I'm not gonna lie, believing them first, but then also wanting to see okay what happened.
Mhm.
And just give them the opportunity to express themselves. And if it's, if it sounds like a duck, it's a duck. So why not? But I know back in those days, it's I'm sure it's definitely different.
Mhm. Oh,
You
most
know,
definitely.
definitely different. Wow.
Um, so you were 16. You were 16 when you went in. You were in there
Mhm.
for 31 years. Um, I heard well when we were talking yesterday, you were saying about the 6-year-olds. Like you guys were making comments. Tell us about that.
So I've done over 12,000 hours in self help groups in prison, and um, so dealing with ourself and our traumas, we realize that we are all just tall 6 year olds because we're all dealing with our trauma from our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter if you were white, black, Mexican from Northern California, Southern California, because prison is politics and
Mm-hmm.
everything is political and racist and all that. And it didn't matter, and we had one guy in one of our groups, he was spitting out $1 million words and he was just popping his collar like he was everything. But then we just broke down to brass tacks what was going on in your childhood for him
Right.
to commit his crime. He was like, nothing was happening. Finally he broke down and he's like, my mom was selling drugs in the house and then she started selling her body. And at
Mm-hmm.
that point I knew I needed to go out and sell dope so she didn't have to go do all that. And
Mm.
he broke and he started crying in class. And this is one of the guys that just thought he was better than everybody else because he was a little bit more educated than everybody else. But there was a reason why he was educating himself so he can, just not deal with everything that he was really needing to deal with.
Mm-hmm. That's
And it was amazing that he opened up like that. But it took time, and it takes time for everybody to open up.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you thinking, Iman?
I was just thinking about the news and how the news have the kids on there protesting about. Um, I'm not sure if it's a law that has been passed or they're trying to have a law turned over for children who have gone to jail and have been tried as adults,
Mhm.
Oh.
and they are saying and it's young kids out there protesting, and the mayor is she the mayor of Oakland or San Francisco, or where is she the
What?
mayor of? Is it LA? Light skinned lady with long wavy hair, really tall lady that comes. I can't remember if she's a
Is it London
mayor.
Breed?
No, not London
No.
Breed. It's not London Breed. It's not
Okay.
Libby. It's another lady,
That's
and I don't
what's
know
up.
if it's LA or if it's out here. I think it's somewhere out here, but um yeah. So the kids are out there protesting about um kids getting tried as adults.
Listen, I want to go. I want to go protest with them. No, for
Yeah,
real,
and
it's not. It's not right. What you
mm-mm.
think, Danny? What you thinking about?
When I was 16, I went through the 707 Fitness Welfare and Institution Code 707 fitness hearing, and I was found guilty on 3 of them out of the 5 charges that they have. And they tried me as an adult at 16,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and it was horrible on one end because now you're throwing me with the big wolves, But at the same time, as an adult, I had an actual trial and I wasn't just put into the juvenile system because then you can go to Fouts, which at that time was just a disciplinary thing. They didn't really try to help train you or get you out of your problems. Plus,
Right.
you had the California Youth Authority that minors went to, and that was a whole separate thing. I missed that because I was tried as an adult. I went straight to Old Folsom at 18,
Mm.
and it's a lot different.
So they took you for these 2 years through these trials until you turn 18, and then turned around and sentenced you.
Well, okay, so for the first year and a half from 16 to 18, I was at juvenile hall.
Okay.
I guess it was the old juvenile hall because there's a new one now.
Okay.
So I was there when I turned 18. They sent me to county jail. And because I was new to the system, I guess they put me in DISO ISO, which was extreme segregation. I'm by myself 23 hours a day, 1 hour into a little pod.
Mm.
And then
breaking
they
you down.
It's like that's like a you said the isolation. It was called ISO, something ISO. Okay, yeah.
DISO ISO is what it
DISO
was.
ISO.
Yeah, I don't know that. The ISO is isolation.
Yeah, isolation, yeah.
So I'm thinking disassociated ice. I don't know. But I was there for the 5 months. I went through my trial, got convicted, and then they sent me to CMF for receiving a release. And then from there, I went straight to Old Folsom within 2 months. And it was really different. It was really different.
And this was in 89?
89 was the crime. In 91, I was at Old Folsom.
So,
Wow.
I want to say something real fast. I just want to say, hey, Dale, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Dale said, average childhood experiences. Oh, yeah, but no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I thought he said, yeah, I read this wrong. Like, they don't occur in the household. But you're right, though, Ace. And I shared in the chat that bullying is an ace. Bullying is one of the aces, Dale. So I agree with you. They don't always. Listen, if I could do the survey all over again, I would totally add more stuff in. So this is why, like when I was asking Danny, like what services could have been provided in the city. I hear an echo. In the city, I mean not in the city. Yeah, in the city, in the community, in the households, in the schools. They do occur at schools. Bullying is an ace. You could be sexually abused at school. You could be exposed to all kinds of stuff at school. You could be exposed to this stuff in your community. So they're everywhere. And so yeah, we could totally do a whole nother study and add so much more in there. So this was between 1995, 97. Like I would have totally got more people's input in the study. But you are right, Dale. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. 100%. And it's things that we need to take. Really, I'm so big on raising awareness about ACEs. I have a group of kids. Grateful for the Department of Public Health that's funding the program was Ivy, it's Impact Below Youth Council. And they are all about violence prevention. We have some of them tuning in right now. Australia, Esmeralda, they are part of the Ivy Council. But they're tired of the violence that's occurring in the communities. You got to hear these gunshots. You can't even focus. It's a lot going on in our communities, but that's something that has to be dealt with as a community. And after we're raise awareness and people are tuning in from everywhere, this is something that you can do in your city, wherever you are, Fairfield, Vacaville, LA, New York, wherever you are. Okay. You all have been impacted by at least one ACE, at least one of them. Mm-hmm. And they can occur anywhere. So I just want to share that. Thank you, Dale, for bringing that up. Thank you. Back to you, Danny. So 16, try as an adult. They have this thing now, you said, for Iman, protesting about these youth not being tried as adults. And yeah, I wish they would really understand this, because you were 16, and what were the other people ages, the ages of the other people?
One of my friends was 14. His older brother was 18, and the rest of the guys were either 18 or 21. All through those ages.
And so were you all tried together?
No. So that was just my group of friends. But the two people that were with me the night of the crime were both 20 and 21.
And even seeing that, you know what I'm saying? And you're with two adults, right? You're with two adults, and just them not even looking at that, you
Well,
know.
what got me is I didn't have a driver's license. The
Mhm.
driver of the car drove us up there.
Mhm.
There was blood in the front passenger seat, but I was in the back seat.
Mhm.
But yet I was treated worse than both of them because
Oh,
Wow.
their bail was 80,000. My bail was $158,000.
wow.
Wow.
What happened? You know what I mean? It was like it was crazy.
Right.
Mhm.
I originally got a sentence of 25 to life. The Court of Appeals reduced it to 15 to life, the second degree murder. So that helped me in one aspect. So I had a lesser sentence, but I
Mhm.
actually did way more time than the rest of my co-defendants.
Yeah.
Like I had one co-defendant who had 25 to life. He got out after 18 years.
Mm.
Oh.
So
It's like it makes you wonder, why is that?
wait, because that's what I wonder. Does it have to be? Does it
That's
have
the
to
prison
be?
system right there.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking about. Like, was it like the defender, the public defender, or was it the lawyer? Like, what was
Well,
it?
okay, so you have the public defender's office, you have the regular attorneys. So every attorney has to do some pro bono work, some free work.
Mhm.
So they take on these cases and they're getting paid minimum dollars for it because
Yeah,
it's
put
free. So they really don't put in that much work.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
granted, they work hard. I'm not going to take that from them.
Right.
I'm sure they do the best
Mhm.
they can, but when it comes to juvenile cases back in 1989,
Mhm.
there wasn't a
Right.
lot. It was let's be tough on crime. Let's show the rest of these kids that we're not going to take no crap in this city, and we're going to make a statement. You know, and
Mm.
Instead of
Bunning,
helping them.
yeah. So Judge Bunning even looked at it, and I have the newspaper clippings in the garage that state he had a very traumatic childhood. That's why the crime was so traumatic.
Right.
And it's like, well, where's my help? Where are you helping me?
Exactly.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
I
but
like these new judges that's in Solano County. No, really, they got some good judges now. Like, is this one judge, Judge Healy? I heard he's really good, but they really take in consideration like what it is, the traumatic events that people are experiencing. Like, people
but they
really,
do that now. They
yeah,
do that based on what
Right.
we had to go through when we was kids.
right,
Mhm.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, and it's the evolution of everything anyway.
Yeah.
Now for like
Right.
me and my co-defendant, when we both left Old Folsom, I went to Mule Creek State Prison near Stockton, near Ione, and he went here in Vacaville to Solano. Now, where I was at, I couldn't get behind a wall to get a trade, but he was here at Solano where he could get behind a wall and get a trade.
Mm.
So he was able to acclimate himself through the prison system, get trades, get vocations, get educated, where I just got to pick up trash on the yard all day for the next 7 years.
It's a trip though, because that's
Mhm.
really, if people think about something, really that is equity, right? Like it's so, because it's like it should be across the board. Like give people what they need.
Right.
I know someone that is so near and dear to my heart that's in prison, and we were having a discussion because I'm like, well, is it stuff that they're, are they allowing, are they helping y'all with any trade, like any trades or anything in there? And it's like they're shutting stuff down, like where people don't have access. Oh, they say like short staff
Yes.
and stuff like that. It's like what? Like I'll be ready to just for what he's experiencing. I'm ready to so get involved because I swear going to prison, that's even more traumatic. Like that's causing more trauma. So it's like, what can we do to help
It's
them?
psychological. Right.
Yes.
Look, if they did an ACE study, and it tells you in the ACE study, and if they do that in prisons, like, oh my gosh, the average ACE score is probably 8 or 9.
Mhm.
That's cold,
They
man.
they have the hole in order to break you. They put people in the hole to break you.
Yes.
to mentally break you. So yes, it's a setup.
Yes.
Cool.
So
But
so
Mhm.
sorry, I just have a question. Because I didn't get the opportunity to look at your video
Okay.
to know to know more about you. So I'm gonna get to know you here. So coming home, and since you've been home, or maybe it occurred before you came home, what have you been doing um, to share your experience to help others in the community or in the world? Period.
That's a really great question. Okay, so at Solano State Prison Level 2, we were able to be involved more with victim awareness symposiums. At that time, the principal, Dr. Kendra Williams, brought in victims awareness advocates and even victims, had them speak. We were able to an opportunity to speak. We did Special Olympics while we were over there, and I was fortunate enough that a friend of mine got together and asked me to help organize a cultural awareness day. And we were able to get all the different cultures together in the gym. We did like a little passport for everybody to come in so we can learn each other better and ask questions without putting anybody on the defensive, and
Breaking the ice.
so I was able to be that to do that and be one of them leaders and speak and just talk to people. And because I grew up as a white kid, but when I was growing up, I had black friends, I had Filipino friends, I had people from Taiwan. I knew everybody. It didn't matter. I wasn't one of them people. So when I went to Old Folsom, I was like, "Oh, you're over here with the white guys." I'm like, "I don't feel comfortable. What are we doing?"
Yeah. 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 It's like, you
I don't do dope.
culture. You
I
mix
don't do
culture.
dope. I don't do dope. So I can't sit at the table with these people because that's all they talk about is dope and how they hate these other races. And I'm like, I'm cool. Check, please. I'm ready to leave. And I was fortunate enough that the Polynesians seen that I wasn't a part of that. And they were like, we're going to bring you over here. And because they had enough clout, they took me in. And it took me 10 years to officially change my ethnicity in prison from white to other. But while that was, yes, and while that was happening, I was housed and celled with others, with Polynesians. And a lot of people were upset. They hated it, but there was nothing they could do because the people that took me in, they kind of ran things.
Okay.
That's cool.
So I was very fortunate, and I learned how to do the hula, the haka, sivatau, laka laka. So I could dance, I could chant. I got a video of me chanting and doing a hula. I can send y'all the link later. But it was really cool that I was able and fortunate to do that. And because of that, I was able to go to the other races and say, hey, look, we need to put something together. We need to address issues. We need to be able to talk with each other. Let's have that conversation. We claim to be adults here. So let's have an adult conversation without your attitude, your preconceived notions. Let's just go talk. Period. And for the most part, it was received well. Now when we played sports, especially football in prison, there's a lot of hitting on them lines, or even baseball. When we were playing softball in prison, I went to the other team and I told them, look, I'm going to act like the pro board. I'm not going to let you come home. So if you're close to coming home, I'm going to hit you. And I expect you to hit me back. And they were like, ooh, green light. Ooh, we can do this. And we had a blast.
That's a question. Facebook
I
user.
love this question.
Can you share who you are? We can't see who you are, but thank you for tuning in. Oh, what's up, Deanton? Deanton, what's up with it, Deanton? Okay, I'm sorry, Dan.
He was already ahead of the game.
No, I love it because the question is, what was the hardest part of your experience, and what was it that caused you to change for the better and not the worse? So in prison, the Polynesians told me straight up, there's two ways you can do this. You can either go to education or we can make you a torpedo. You can do fighting. And I went to the education. I'm not going to do all this torpedo stuff.
Mhm.
And so that helped me. But I know one day I was playing softball and I seen this other kid. He threw his glove on the ground. He was like, these dudes, they can't play that. And I was like, that was me. And when I saw that, that's when I changed. And it reminds me of that commercial when the lady is in the store and she's bad mouthing her kid and somebody pulls up and holds the mirror in front of her and she sees herself. It's that moment that changes your life. And you're like, you know what? I got to change. So that's when I started doing. I started making that change. I started being real. And in the video that you guys watch at my my first engagement, I talked about when I heard that other guy with his story. And I don't know if you guys want me to share that story or not.
I don't know. You can
No,
share
go ahead.
whatever you want to share.
Okay. So this guy he was going on a vacation on an anniversary weekend with his wife, asked the neighbor to watch their child. And when they came back, they were going to watch a video, but it wouldn't play. He pulled out the video, seeing there was no name on it. So he put the VH tape. I mean, who knows VH these days because it's all DVD. But he put it in there, rewound it a little bit, and the neighbor had molested their daughter while they were gone, and he videotaped it. So he went next door, knocked on the door, beat the guy up, did some terrible stuff to him, but wasn't trying to kill him. And he gave him a colostomy bag, and they gave the guy life for attempted murder. And he was like, I didn't want to kill him. Otherwise, he'd be dead. I just want him to go around for the rest of his life. Got a colostomy bag. This is why. And his daughter had asked him, Dad, why are you in prison? He's like, when you get older, I'll tell you. So when she turned, when she had her birthday, she was, I think it was 16, she had asked, and he said, well, I wasn't there to protect you. And she said, Dad, who's protecting me now? And it was such a gut-wrenching statement for him. And you know, and it's horrible. But at some point, you have to decide: are you going to be a solution or not?
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, that was that was deep. When I heard that, I was like, whoa. Yeah. Fatima was going to ask you something earlier today. Go. She was so
one thing that when I was watching a video earlier, and what I it seemed like, okay, you said that you was in there for that long and you had to, protect your, all these predators and different things of that sort. But now, one time, did you ever have a fight, right? But wouldn't nobody mess with you either. Like, they knew not to mess with you. And I was like, it seems to me like it's like you did like the art of war, right?
Yes.
You had this art of war type mentality.
Yeah. Because like when I first went in, I was a baby face. I was a pretty boy. It was 1989. You had Key Sweat and Albie Shore. They was doing the whole R&B hip hop, and you was just trying to be all fly.
You had the curly hair?
Pick up the honey. Man, I had a mullet, and it was fly. Let me tell you. Yes, I did. Yes, laugh all you want, but I was fly. So when I went to prison, they were like, "What are you doing in here?" And I was like, "Somebody disrespected me, so I stabbed them." And they were like, "What? You didn't shoot him?" I was like, "No, anybody can shoot across the street. They can just shoot and hit anybody, but you got to have the heart of a lion to go up and stab somebody." And they were like, "What?" And then they were like, "Well, how many times did you stab him?" And this is where the lie really comes in. Okay?
Extreme, huh?
I stabbed them
million
more
times?
No, not that many. But you tell them, well, how many times did Charlie Manson and all them stab their victims? I think there was like 3 more than that. And they were like, what? Because it was so gruesome, and a lot of people remembered that. And they were like, man, I ain't messing with this kid because he doesn't know when to stop. And when it comes down to it, the ones that you need to worry about the most is people who have nothing to lose. They're not going to stop.
Right.
You know.
Well.
So they were like, okay, let me stay away from this dude. I'm not gonna make him mad.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I mean, survival. You gotta survive. Surviving. You know.
Yes.
What do you
That
think?
remind me. That just remind me of
What do you do?
No, go ahead, Fatima. Go ahead.
No, I want to know, what do you do for yourself now as far as mentally, like dealing with that for so many years, and then also with your childhood situations. How do you take care of yourself now?
On Monday, okay, so since I've come home, the number one priority is not parole. Let me get that clear. The number one priority is not parole. It's your mental health. Take care of your mental health. That's the number one priority. After that is parole, because your mental health should come first at all times, at all costs. So what I've done since I've been home is I think I got like 483 Facebook friends, and I think over 350 are actual ex-lifers. So I stay in communication with all my old friends, and we constantly talk and communicate with each other about the traumas we have. There's a lot of us that still can't sleep at night. Being in the dark, I need a light on, because in prison, lights are always on. You know, you have to have the hum of a fan or something in the background, because that's all you hear is the hum of something in the background. So it's all about staying connected and being willing to open up and say, hey, I'm still having these problems. Let's talk about them. So another friend of mine I got with, most Mondays, like every other Monday, we get together and we talk about a lot of our traumas and what's been going on recently. What are we going through? How are we dealing with it? I was cleaning the room the other day and I just broke down crying. And my girl comes in and she sees me. She just comes over, gives me a hug. And for the next 20 minutes, she's just holding me saying, you are loved. You are safe. And finally, when I was able to look up at her, she said, whenever you're ready, we'll talk. And she left. She didn't try to pressure me into talking about what's wrong with you.
I like
When
that.
you're ready,
No, we love her. She good. She good.
She is good. And, you know, she knows that there's a lot of stuff going on mentally that I can't talk about yet. I'm not ready to talk to her about. And I may never talk to her about it, because it's a lot of trauma from prison that I don't think a lot of people are ready out here that's never been in it. And quite honestly, I don't want you to deal with the monsters that are running around in my head. I'm having a hard enough time dealing with them. How are you going to deal with them?
Yeah.
You know.
So I wonder. So do they provide any kind of counseling or therapy? So when people come out, they're assigned to a parole officer or probation officer, and I mean, like, can they? So they need to equip the parole officers with some kind of services to help you with mental health. It's just like, really, I think about. I mean, I'm sure. I know it's totally different and everything, but just really like with slavery. Like, slaves were released, seeing all this trauma, children being sold, you see your wife getting raped and children getting killed in front of you, all that stuff. You come out free, but it's like mentally you're all messed up. And it's like,
yes. They don't have mental health services for us. You have to pay for that. They're not going to help pay for that.
wow.
Too many psychiatrists cost too much money.
And it's not enough. Like, it's not enough of them out here. You know, it's not enough
right.
therapists, anything. Wow.
Yeah.
So if you if you was ever ready, in order to heal or give you the tools to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, because it is forever, is EMDR therapy. So I'm not sure if you ever heard of it or not.
No.
Obviously, that's when a lot of people do, and then a lot of people don't. But it's definitely experience to go through. I go through it myself. I'm dealing with my traumas. But it is the only therapy that actually cures or heals post-traumatic stress disorder. It's called EMDR therapy.
I've never heard of that. But if it helps, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm gonna send you some information in your inbox.
Most definitely.
And have you tried the Calm app? Have you heard of the Calm app?
No.
Where you can go on there and it can help you with like meditating and sleeping. Like they have one that, because I know you were saying about the fan. Like I have a hard time sleeping, and I because I'm a light sleeper. But to help me go to sleep, I always use the Calm app, and it has where they have like ocean waves. I like to listen to ocean waves. My son listens to thunder waves. I'm like, thunder? How you? I was like, I'll go in and change it. I'll be like, ocean waves, but he likes listening to. I will wake up and I will hear a bunch of thunder.
Yeah, I listen to thunder too.
I'm like, thunder.
I do. I have a hour-long ocean waves on the shores of Oahu.
Okay,
So I do have that. But like, if I have a really hard time sleeping, I put on song 11 through the end of it on John B's first album, Bonafide, because it's just so smooth.
Yeah.
And I get to singing with it as I close my eyes. Next thing you know, I'm asleep. I love it.
Okay.
Every time.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's nice.
Someone asked, one of our viewers
it's
asked, I know, it's still the same, but the Anton. Okay, so I'm sorry for Timmy, you were just letting me know. I apologize.
He said it again.
I'm sorry. How has your experience impact how you interact with youth? Like, do you do any speaking engagements with the youth or anything like that? I think you shared that earlier.
I've been trying to get into juvenile hall. It's been difficult with COVID. Now it's starting to open up. But now they were talking about, well, your parole officer has to help recommend to get you in. And I'm like, well, I'm off parole now. So how do we fill out the paperwork? How do we do this?
Right.
And it's like, well, you got to be recommended. What do you mean? I got to be recommended to help?
We got to do something. No,
right.
We got to do something.
Now, I get it. You want to be cautious. You have youth. You got a guy who's convicted of murder, and, you want to make sure that he doesn't know anybody in there. And there's some, issues with me and their parents. So I'm going to take it out on the kid. I get that. Okay. But you have to do the paperwork to do it. Mm-hmm. Let's figure it out, So but then at the same time, you want to make sure that the kid is going to be safe. What is this guy going to come in to talk about? Have we heard him speak? And let's deal with the issues. But I have been trying to talk to the youth. That's why I'm doing more public speaking with the Rising Star Speaker Series. TEDx Cornell hit me up and asked me if I wanted to come to Ithaca, New York to do a TED Talk. And I'm like, yes.
That's what's up.
So I definitely want to get on the platform and go to different places and talk. Let's go talk. Let's have that conversation.
So you're on YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a YouTube channel yet.
Why? Why not, sir?
I don't know how to do all that.
Oh, you got go to YouTube and type in how to get a YouTube channel.
You know what? I'm gonna do that.
Do that. They have all YouTube will teach you any and everything you want to know. It taught Fatima how to change her car. What is it? One of your car that you had to do, Fatima? That you changed?
Me. I do tune-ups on my car. Yeah.
She learned how to. No, you changed something when you was here. You changed something. She did something on a foreign car. A whole little piece, motor mouse or something like that. But she learned it on YouTube. Okay. But if you go on YouTube, they have some tools that will teach you how to do a YouTube channel. It's easy. Just do a video and post it on YouTube. Okay. Create your YouTube channel from your email. Figure it out. We'll help you.
Let me know. I'll help you. Okay.
Yeah. Fatima got hers up and running.
Listen, you're gonna get it. It's all we didn't know how to do all this until we learned how to do it, and so it just takes watching the video.
It's fun.
Having somebody to help. Like it'll be easy.
And post your video that you've already done. And post it on YouTube. That'll be your first video.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Deanna, you just want to come on as a co-host or something?
He might as well. Bring them in. Bring them in.
I'm good. Let's do it. Sure. What is the
Yeah,
most important
yeah.
things you've learned for what you've been through? Oh man, I think getting to learn other cultures. I really do because like when we did the cultural awareness days, we were in the gym. We had to do a proposal that would make the institution look good. So we had to get it approved by higher ups, the warden and everybody. So we proposed it to where we'd get 24 tables. We would get all the different ethnic groups together, and we would come out and talk. We'd have people do skits if they had a skit, um, and we had a group called Man Up, and they came out. They did a little step routine. They talked about how they do their man up and what that is all about. When it came to the Muslims, we presented an opportunity for people to ask, why do you pray 5 times a day in the manner that you pray, without putting people on the defensive? And that's what it was all about. Let's just go talk to people. Because if you walked up to somebody who was like, why do you do what you do? People get defensive. Why do you want to know what's going on?
Right.
What's your ulterior motive? So we abolished that. We got it together. We did it for 6 years in prison. And we were trying to get it to where we would bring in the principals and the vice principals of a lot of the local schools, elementary schools, have them come in, see what we're doing, and maybe they could do it out here. And they were like, no, we're not going to do that. And it's like, we're not trying to ask you to bring the children in. We want you to bring in the principal and the vice principal of the elementary schools. Let's get our young kids to where they start accepting each other and learning about each other's culture. So when they get a little bit older, they don't be having these attitudes they have.
Right.
You know?
Right. So true. It's interesting. I took race and ethnic studies in college. Shout out to Professor Johnson. And it really opened my eyes on so many, how similar, a lot of similar experiences from the Polish to the Irish and everything. It's just, certain people assimilated themselves in order to get better status. But like we had so many similar experiences. And of course, it's a course that I wish that, officers and, people that serve the public would take in order to get a better understanding of different cultures and everything. But yes, I definitely understand what you saying. It's a better understanding for each other.
Yeah, and that's important. So it's cultural awareness, and then it provided inmate engagements, right? And so, but I wonder if they did any kind of data, like collected any data, like, did fights reduce, were there a reduction in crime, any of that?
No.
They didn't do none of that.
Why?
But is that ever a goal? The goal is to divide and conquer.
Yes.
Am I paused? Okay, I'm sorry. I'll be breaking up. So go ahead.
Back in the 70s, it was the inmates, the blues against the greens. Period. If you were in blue, you were an inmate. Green is the officers. There was a line that separated you. We were all one, and they are all one. Then they came in and they started forcing it in, and they divided us. And now you have the northern Hispanics, who are called the norteños, and you got the southerners, the sureños. They're still Hispanic, but because of their geography in the state of California, there's a political line. Then you had the Crips and the Bloods, but you got to be careful because you got the Bay Area Bloods versus the LA Bloods. So they're divided even more. Then you had the white boys with the Sacramaniacs. Then you had the SoCal, you had the NorCal, and they just kept dividing everything.
Talking about slavery. This sounds to me like a massive part of the Willie Lynch syndrome.
But no, I hear what you're saying. But what I see is that you have, I hear what you're saying. As far as the divisiveness and everything, right? The divisiveness. I'm thinking about the root of it. I'm thinking about like how it just started. Like the sense of that sense of belonging. I want to be belonged. I wanted to have that connection. Wanted to have that family. You know, the first thing I asked you, Danny, like when we were talking on the phone, I was like, "Are you the only child or the oldest?" And you shared that you were the oldest child. Because I really believe like the oldest, like really, like and it's okay to want to feel important or have that sense of belonging, have somebody to connect with. Connection is important as a human. You know, we have to interact with people. You have people that don't really interact with people, and to them, they think they cool and everything. I don't know if it's them being in denial or something. Like, I'm fine by myself. I don't gotta talk to people. Please, I have to talk to people. I have to connect with people. Like, I love people. Like, it's important. But I see that. I'm just saying, like, as far as those different gangs, it's a sense of belonging. Yeah, and it just sucks.
Yeah. So, if you look at the prison population in the state of California, it's what, 140,000 now? It was 186,000 at one point. But look at the prison guards. They're nowhere near that number. So it's like one prison guard for every 80 inmates.
Wow.
At any time, they can actually rise up and take over. But they don't, because they keep everybody divided and keep funking with each other. Because if I keep you two fighting each other, I ain't got to worry about you guys jumping me. You guys got problems with yourselves.
What do that sound like?
Right.
Yes,
you know.
But everything is psychological. Like they do this intentional with the jail. Everything is so intentional.
I know, because I read. No, I really believe that's where it stemmed from, and then they took it, and then they continue to use it and use it to control and to divide. It started there, but that's what it totally sounds like, the Willie Lynch syndrome, and it can continue to go on into different from African Americans to different cultures, and then they used it to be able to control everybody.
Yeah. But you know what's weird about it really is, as much as you hate another group because of their skin color or what they represent, they stand for, if somebody's being beat by the police, even in prison, they'll still stand up for each other.
Because the police is another one. They're another color.
Right. Yes, they are. But like, let's say a guy is being bullied, right? And he ends up getting a knife and he stabs the bully, and they put the yard down. They will move the knife from person to person and get it across the yard. So that way, when they search the area, it's not there. And it's going from one race to another race to another race to another. You got 85 fingerprints on this weapon. It's crazy because I don't like you, but because you did that to a bully, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to move this for you.
Right.
So there is some unity, even though we keep everybody separated.
Right. Because we all have hearts.
And it's probably survival of the fittest in there, right?
It really is.
So I'm gonna bring it back in. I like the Anton question. So, because bottom line, everything all pertains to ACEs, things we experienced. He said, "I know you took the ACE test." He knows because he was the guest before. What is the revelation you have from your experience and the results of your test? And do you think those results would have changed your response to the consequences of your actions? Would have changed your response to the consequences of your actions?
Well, let's go to the first part. Let's go to that first question. What is the revelation you had from your experience and the results of your test? The results of the test was just to get to know what I had went through as a quick, here's a 10-question survey. Let's just go through it. This is what you dealt with. But doing a lot of the self-help groups that I've been through and being able to help coordinate and everything, I realized we all have the same trauma. Especially with us men, because we were all told men don't cry.
Right.
Stop being a baby, walk that off. keep going. And now we're in prison. We're still fighting that. But yet, abandonment in every shape and form. And that's male or female, it doesn't matter. In being emotionally scarred. And like me, I learned from my mom when I'd ask her to help. She's like, well, not right now. I'm smoking a cigarette, watching TV. So you're telling me a cigarette and TV is more important than me helping me with my homework. Okay, I'm good. I don't need this. I whip it up and throw it away. So why bother? If you're not going to bother to help me, why am I going to help myself? And it sucked because I can go to some friends and some kids on the street and I can get better help from them than I can you. And it comes back to that acceptance.
Right.
But when I realized that we have a lot of the same issues, that's where now we can all start dealing with our issues. Now that I know you went through the same crap I went through, it's just a different household, different neighborhood.
Right.
That's it. Abuse is abuse.
Abuse, and that's the biggest one that a lot of people have in common. The abuse, period. Let's just say that. The abuse. Period.
The abuse.
And most frequency that physical abuse and that emotional abuse. And emotional neglect as well. Emotional neglect. Yeah, not being loved, not feeling loved, not feeling important, like you just don't matter.
Because like when I came home in 2020, Christmas of 2020, my mom was playing a joke. She said I had to go get one of those Hot Wheel tracks. It's the same thing you beat me with when I was a kid. Don't play with me with that. That's my childhood trauma coming back up. And she was like, no, I'm just messing with you. No, you're not. It's psychological for me. I don't even want to be here right now. And I seen a guy with a belt and he would make a little snapping sound off the belt. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna need you to stop doing that. I got trauma. Don't do that. And he thought I was playing. He did it. I walked away. And they don't get it. The life I saved today is going to be mine. I'm going to walk away.
Right.
Period. Yeah.
Setting those boundaries are important.
Yeah.
No matter
who they
are. Very important.
Well, I want to thank you. Thank you for really, because we wrapping up. But I really appreciate you coming on. Really hearing your story. Understanding, we have to do all we can, you all. Everybody that's tuning in, wherever city you're in, wherever you are, we have to do all we can to prevent these ACEs from occurring in the households, in the schools, in the communities. And it does take, there's a lot of research done, a lot of science and everything behind it. And we know the impact of this trauma. It's unfortunate that we have people that, commit crimes when they're younger, get tried as adults. But really, really understanding the trauma that they've experienced that really got them into really committing a crime and stuff like that. It's not like, not that excuses are being made for anybody, but it's just like, what has been available to these children? What is available, for them to not even to prevent? What preventative measures are we taking to reduce this, the prison pipeline, the crimes, the violence that's occurring, all of this stuff? What are we doing? What are you doing? What are you doing in your community to reduce ACEs? Like, what are you doing? You need to be doing something. You need to get involved in whatever's going on in your communities, the schools, listen to your children, but you need to be doing something, showing up to meetings, get into the politics. That's what it is. Everything is political, but we need the funding going to the right places. And we have youth that are not being served as they should to reduce these ACEs. So any last thing you want to say, Danny?
If you have any questions, any of the viewers have questions, they see this later, by all means, shoot the questions to me, send them to me. Daniel.darling31@gmail.com. That's my email. Send them to me. I don't care.
Okay.
If you have questions, you need me to talk, you need me to speak somewhere, let me know in advance, and I'll see what I can do about my work schedule, because I can get a PTO and go somewhere and speak. If you guys have something to go speak in person, live, a luncheon, whatever event, doesn't matter. Just let me know and ahead of time, and I'll see what I can come up with and be there.
Daniel.darling.
Yeah.
31.
31.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna drop it
31
in the
is 31 years.
chat. Yeah. We're gonna be sure to drop it in the chat too. So you could go on there, like afterwards, you could go to my Facebook and you could communicate with people on there if you want to. You can ask, it's some questions that
Yep. That's it right there.
There's questions that Deanna is asking. If you want to go on there and answer his questions, it's up to you. Timmy, you good?
I got you.
Make a video answering all the questions and then post them on YouTube.
I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone.
Just to piggyback off. No, I want to piggyback off what you were saying about people getting involved. First, it starts with you. Exactly. With the person. They have to take accountability and want to change for themselves to get improvement. Like, yeah, you can do community involvement and everything, but if you don't see what you're actually doing, how you are involved and how you take place in different situations in your child life, like, it starts with you. It's okay. We all make mistakes, right? We all make mistakes. Nobody is perfect, but accountability is everything. And wanting to change to help your child is very, very important. It's so we can prevent your child being a grown adult dealing with these issues that we deal with as adults.
I agree. There are viewers that's probably tuning in that's for the parents, but there are people who don't have children who still interact with children. Yeah. There are future. So if you got kids or you don't, get involved. Get involved.
I think Whitney Houston said it best when she said the children are our future. Yeah. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
My homegirl Chantel on here is what she says too. Yeah.
Hey, it'd be interesting to even hear of kids still going through the things that we went through as children. And kids still experience in those same issues nowadays with, so much technology and everything, but they still go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it takes a village. Well, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Nice meeting you. Nice getting the opportunity to get to know you, and man, you're inspiration to a lot of people. So keep pushing and keep going.
Yeah. Oh, he froze. It's froze.
I wasn't.
All right, y'all. See you next Wednesday. Next Wednesday gonna be good. I know somebody mad. Somebody texted me right now. Somebody's mad. But next Wednesday, man, y'all know it's Suicide Awareness Month, right? Well, I was trying to get my brother on here, get Kevin on here, but we are going to be doing a discussion on For Color Girls. So if y'all haven't seen For Color Girls, y'all need to tap in and watch it. But I'm going to create a Zoom where people can watch it. But it's a lot of stuff that takes place in For Color Girls, and so there's things we need to address. So tune in next Wednesday, you all. Have a good night. Bye, Fatima. Bye. Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.